Now, it might actually come to a shock to you guys, but I've been actually secretly using the iPhone 6 Plus in 2021 just to see if it's something that I can actually do. And let's go ahead and talk about the results. Now, the iPhone 6 Plus to most people in 2021, right? It might look like an old phone, which I can't lie, it does. But this was hands down my favorite iPhone, as it just worked. And it worked well. But there are some drawbacks that I gotta talk about in this video in regards to using this phone in 2021. So let's go ahead and start off with some of those. Now, even back when this phone first actually came out, which was like, I think it was like 5 years ago or so, the iPhone 6 as well as the 6 Plus was kind of like a statement of having the latest iPhone from its new but yet old design. So starting with the iPhone 6, Apple wanted to actually go back to kind of like its grassroots days of actually having the round edges like we pretty much first got with the first ever iPhone. And I actually love that design personally. Fast forward to 2021 using this phone. One major drawback that I don't really think comes to a surprise or a shocker for people is the battery life. Now, with me actually secretly using this phone alongside the iPhone XS Max, I found that I could really do literally 99% of the same things that I do with my iPhone XS Max. And it could also probably do about 90% of the things that people use the iPhone 12 for as well. But the battery life when it comes to using this device here, especially with some of the updated apps today, just seems to drain the battery a little bit faster than I would personally like. Like literally guys, I don't feel comfortable at all in 2021 leaving the house without having a charger on me at all times with this phone. But surprisingly, the funny thing is, even with my iPhone XS Max, I feel the exact same way. So I decided to go ahead, keep using it just to see if there was anything that I would gain using this phone over something like the iPhone XS Max in 2021. So first thing I have to say that is kind of different to where it's noticeable is when I'm watching movies on the iPhone 6 Plus over something like the iPhone XS Max. Now, the LCD display on the iPhone 6 Plus is just okay in comparison to something like an OLED display that you get on the newer phones like the iPhone XS Max. Now, this was something that I couldn't necessarily look past. Now, I'm not saying that you can't consume the same content that you or your other friends or your family members are actually consuming. It's just not gonna look the same or as sharp as it does on something like the iPhone XS Max. Today's camera technology, guys, with higher megapixels, 4K recording, as well as better frame rates, has really begun to spoil our eyes, or at least my eyes, to want to really have that higher quality when it comes to actually watching movies on Netflix or watching YouTube videos like the one you guys are watching right now. Now, on YouTube, I will say it's not actually that bad because most videos on YouTube are shot in 1080p, which really matches the resolution that really is on this phone. But it's really the display for me that is something that you guys will notice a huge difference from this phone to the iPhone XS Max. Now, the next one here, guys, is a little bit more obvious, and that is the notch versus the bezel design of the iPhone 6 Plus. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, this one may actually come to a shock to you, but after actually using the 6 Plus again, after a while, these thick bezels really wasn't as bad as it may seem. Now, do I prefer slim bezel-less designs like we get on newer iPhones? Yes, but if you were wanting to actually pick up the 6 Plus in 2021, which you can really find on eBay for like 150 bucks, it will look dated at first to you, yes, but after actually using it, you will become accustomed to it, and it won't necessarily faze you like you think it will. Now, another pro that I personally like when using this phone here, which is a highlight to me, and especially in these times where you gotta have on a mask and all of these different things like that, which you all should be wearing a mask for sure, and that is having a fingerprint sensor here on the bottom to be able to unlock your phone. It is definitely a plus in these times for sure, because although Face ID is cool and I like it, but when you guys are actually wearing a mask like you're actually supposed to be wearing, I'm gonna keep saying that, It is so convenient to not have to really worry about actually typing in your passcode or pulling down your face mask or anything like that for like a half a second, just so your phone can actually read your face. But just being able to actually just put your thumb right here on the fingerprint scanner is so much quicker, as well as it's much more convenient than any of the newer iPhones that are out today, including the latest iPhone 12. I'm just saying. Now, using the 6 Plus in 2021 from a user experience has honestly felt the same as using the newer iPhone. This, guys, is a testimony to me to how consistent iOS is regardless of which iPhone model that you guys decide to use. And honestly, guys, this is something that really keeps me wanting to stick with Apple outside of features that I personally use as a creator, like AirDrop, which is just super clutch for anybody that is a creator. But just the overall experience of opening as well as closing apps, messaging and different things like that, as well as being able to switch between applications, just basic iPhone things just makes the user experience just that much easier to really be able to return to older iPhones, where some manufacturers, because of the lack of long-term OS support, will really make you feel like, you know, you've kind of stepped, back a few years with that device, and will really have you missing a lot of those certain features. Now, this phone here, as far as an update, it only went up to iOS 12, which is okay to me because there was a lot of different things that came out with that operating system. Now, again, I didn't get access to iOS 13. I didn't get access to all the cool stuff and widgets that we got in iOS 14. But just from an overall feature perspective, a lot of those things in iOS 14 you really don't need, although it's cool to have, but a lot of the basics in iOS 12 that we got are still good to use today. Now, lastly is the thing we got to talk about, and that is the camera. Now, this is probably one of the most noticeable differences that you guys will be able to see. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, the camera on the iPhone 6 Plus is it just cannot compete with today's standards. And I'll go ahead and throw up some photos here on the screen that I took. And I'll go ahead and let you guys actually decide and just be the judge, because to me, I feel like beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So I'll let you guys decide on how you all feel about the photos that you guys are looking at right now. But to me, in comparison to the latest, it's definitely night and day for sure. But I do believe that you can get by with it for like social media posts to a certain degree. All right, so I'm actually editing the video you guys are watching right now behind me. So after I was actually looking at some of the photos shot on the iPhone 6 Plus, it doesn't really look that bad now that I look at them. And just so you know, this is also shot using the front-facing camera on the iPhone 6 Plus. What y'all think? But I still prefer the latest camera on something like the iPhone 11, which was just an amazing camera, as well as the iPhone 12, which just took the bar even higher. Now, even though I personally like using it this year, I can never recommend someone buy this phone this year, really mainly because of the battery life. It really just can't keep up with the power that these apps tax the processor, which in turn really drains the batteries like crazy. But I will say, if you have a limited budget out there and you don't really mind spending $150 to buy a refurbished one or a used one from someone, which I don't personally like buying used tech either, so I get it if you don't want to go that route, but some people do, then I say go ahead and do it. But I will recommend possibly saving up just a few more $100 and start really looking at the iPhone SE. I feel like you will get a whole lot more bang for your buck in the long run, like better battery life, better camera, same great iOS experience, a faster processor, and you will have the feeling of that you got something newer that will be supported much longer, and it won't necessarily kill your pockets. But I know I compared this to the iPhone XS Max, which is my daily driver, by the way. Yes, you heard that right. I still use the iPhone XS Max, but let me tell you guys why, and that video starts right now. What? CKid is not using the latest and greatest when it comes to smartphones? To be honest, no, and there's a reason for that. And let's go ahead and talk about why I don't. And most of you guys out there probably don't either. And I think that it's okay.
Tapped in. Lately my life had a fast man, but it's ass plan. Fight for my life with the brass hands, and I still ball with a bad hand. Got an aerial point of view, but they'll never see the big picture through zoom lens. From the quicksand, make it push start, type of band's coupe with the tent plan. I'm back on my bender rolls for the kicks. They quick to give them 2 cents. Put my circle tight like we glued hands. Like I don't believe in new friends. Tread light, I know the ice thin. I drop the song, get a few wins. I crave the comfort in my own skin. Really, I just wanna feel the world spin. Drop a check, watch me double that. I get it lit, I watch it bubble up. Remember opening for shows, no a show, but I pulled through, I muscled up. Now the label one fuck with us. I spin the paper, let them know what's up. I figured I be really onto something, cause the jealous niggas give a subtle love. Crazy, they hella shaky on that really, but that's fake. Shit, see through the shade, shit, they so unstable. Done waiting, I'm a wanderlust, I'm really going all the way to places. Never thought I'd take it all off the phrase, but I can't get no sleep.